welcome to another episode of Cool FM Live Sports Show. I'm your host, John Berger, and we've got highlights, insights, and everything you need to know about last week's sports in action. With me is Coach Baker, and then we got Coach Young and Julian Duran. Today's sports show is brought to you by Aloe Fiber, and we couldn't do this without their support. Thank you so much. We've got some exciting interviews lined up with local athletes and players. Sit back and relax. Get ready for another jam-packed episode of Cochise. All of our athletes in Cochise County here at the Cool FM Live Sports Show.
All right, at number 3, we have the error caused by Notre Dame Prep to get a run across the plate for Buena in a late rally. Unfortunately, wasn't enough for their playoff game on Saturday, but there was some excitement that brought a little offense into the game, so we'll go right to that one first.
7th, the last chance. That's a ground ball that goes to the shortstop who makes the play.
First,
over to first, nobody's there, and Brandon will score. The scoreless inning streak is over, and just like that, no one was at first base for the throw. Cole Isaacson makes it into third. Still one
Gave
down.
Buena a little bit of hope
Buena
there.
with a runner 90 feet away to bring this game within 3. I don't know what just happened.
and before we go on to the second play, I want to just say that I just still don't understand what that first baseman did. Like, he just totally vacated his position. He was just coming straight at us at the camera. I'm like, what is this guy doing? So anyway, just sometimes those things happen in the heat of the battle in playoff games. But next up we have Benson and Natalia Guzman hitting it over the fence for the Bobcat softball team.
Hey, only if you like it.
There he goes. That's a grand slam for Natalia Guzman. That's a bomb. Natalia, here comes
She knew it.
Aubrey
She was
Garner,
back.
Mandy Watson scoring, Dakota Abbott, and here she comes. Grand slam, Natalia Guzman.
What a power hitter. Good swing, and she knew. She just took that nice little trot around them bases and brought them into their second playoff game coming up soon. So, and then last we have our grand slam from the Tombstone Yellow Jackets play-in game on Friday last week. Or I want to say Saturday. Excuse me, Saturday morning against Santa Cruz Valley, and that was Brianna True going yard against the Santa Cruz team.
Eloy Santa Cruz. Here is the 1-0 pitch.
Oh, beautiful
That
hit.
is a high
That's a big
fly
one.
ball.
That's going to be
That
tough
is
to
a
get.
high, and that's a
Home
home
run.
run.
Home
That is
run.
a grand slam.
Wow.
Grand slam for Brianna True. Now
Wow.
nobody going to tell me that's her first one. Right, Coach?
Yeah, we had a good little commentary there with the guys that were covering that game. So great job with the top 3 plays, and there was some exciting playoff action that happened over the weekend, and then we're going to keep it moving and get into our game highlights of the week.
Yeah, like you said, Jarad, there was a lot of great plays throughout the week. Baseball, softball, those weren't the only great plays. We have a few highlights to show you. We'll start off with the Benson versus Arizona Lutheran softball game.
And stay out of the way of the nerds. Nice pitch!
Line drive to right field. One run's going to score. Another line drive to the right side. Jam in the top of the first.
Nice pitch!
Ground ball to third. Dakota. Got an error at third base. Nice swing by Sierra. Ball's up in the air. Remember I said that wind was blowing out. It's over the center fielder's head. Millie's coming in to score. That's a stand-up double for Sierra Olsen. Nice hit by Sadie over the left fielder's head. Looks like Miley's going to come in to score. Another stand-up double by Sadie Webb. Back-to-back doubles for the Bobcats. Ties the score. Bottom of the first. Nobody. Oh, another nice hit by Kaylee. Line drive to left field. Gets past the left fielder. Looks like this one might be a triple. Here comes Kaylee into third base. Stand-up triple. Kaylee Taylor drives in the third run for the Bobcats. Now batting our freshman, Karis Taylor, pops up to right field, and Kaylee's going to tag up and score.
If you like it.
There he goes. That's a grand slam for Natalia Guzman. That's a bomb. Natalia, here comes Aubrey Garner, Mandy Watson scoring, Dakota Abbott, and here she comes. Grand slam, Natalia Guzman. Just to find a gap. Popped up to left field. Oh, that ball's down. Oh, nice catch out there in left field. Nice running catch by left fielder J.J. Grams. Makes the catch, but Millie Kellogg able to tag up and score on that. So RBI for Karis Taylor. There it is. Line drive, center field. Straight at the center fielder. It's going to score 2 runs for the Cats. Sierra with a line drive, center field. 2 RBIs. Bobcats up 11. There it is, that ball's going, it's going deep, and it's gone! Another home run for freshman phenom, Karis Taylor, number 13, that's number 9 for our freshman, and that's a second grand slam of the day for the Benson Bobcats.
So as you can see, there are a lot of highlights for the Benson Lady Bobcats there. Like, they put up some big runs, big at-bats. We saw home runs, grand slams, RBIs all over the place. Congrats to them. They win that game 15-2. Big time game a big time game for a big time moment. That was a play-in game, putting them into the state playoffs. So good job to them.
Those Taylor sisters put up a ton of RBIs in that game. That was a lot of fun to see. When one family puts up enough runs to win, that's a dominant performance.
Yeah, those girls are some phenomenal athletes there at Benson.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next highlight, Tombstone was in action in their round 1 playoff game, and we have the highlights from that game versus Santa Cruz.
And that is a high fly ball.
Oh, she dropped it.
Oh. Tough to handle. That was tough with the wind. They bring it in. That's going to be a double. That's 2 runs on the board for Tombstone. They strike first here in the bottom of the first. Tombstone, Yellow Jackets 2, Eloy nothing.
Okay, thank you. What inning is that in? Do you know?
That I will double. Oh, that's a shot.
Beautiful
that is
hit.
a shot.
Is that a home
That's going
run?
to be a double. Did that go over? I thought it bounced over. Did it go over? That's
No,
that's
it's a home run.
That is Violet Schmidt, correct? Violet? Is it Violet?
That was Lily Garcia.
Okay, no, okay, gotcha. Lily Garcia, first home run of the year. Oh my! The 1-2 pitch, and that's going to drop. That is going to drop. That's going to bring in 2. It's going to bring in 2 for Eloy on that aggressive base run. Here's the pitch from Flores. That's going to drop. That's going to drop.
Yep.
That is going to drop. They're going to bring her in. They're going to bring her in.
She got in. No wind at the moment.
So here's the pitch from Gross.
Oh.
And there's a shot. That's going to bring in the 2. That is going to bring in the 2. That's going to be the left center. She's going to get a double on that. They do bring him home. Here is the throw. Oh, it's high. They're going to advance that runner to third. For Eloy so she's Santa Cruz. And there's a shot. That's down the third base line. That's going to bring in 1. And Eloy Santa Cruz has grabbed the lead. 5 Eloy Santa Cruz. Here is the 1-0 pitch.
Oh, beautiful hit.
That is a high
That's a big
fly
one.
ball.
That's going to be tough to get.
And that's
a home run. Home
that
run.
Is a grand slam.
Wow.
Grand slam for Brianna True. Now that, nobody going to tell me. Here is the pitch. And that's going to be, might be trouble. It is trouble. They're safe.
Uh-oh.
And that's going to be,
wow. Risky to have her go to third.
Yeah, runner advanced to third. A throw wasn't there. So you got runners again in first and third. Runner scored. Coach said take 1 more. Oh, that's a good cut. Right to the mound. And they're going to go home. And she's in there. So they do get the out. That's 2 down, but they do get that run. It's 9-6 to Brown. Pitcher versus pitcher. Here is the pitch. Here is the cut. Ooh, she's got it. And Tombstone is going to advance in the playoffs. That's it. That's it. The final from Tombstone. It is the Tombstone Yellow Jackets 9, Eloy Santa Cruz 6 in the first round of the 2A state playoffs.
Congratulations to another Cochise County team, softball. So Lady Jackets of Tombstone with a big win there, 9-6 over Santa Cruz Valley, I should say. Big win. The next game we have is Buena's first round playoff game. We all know Buena had the fantastic season. So we'll get into the highlights of that game.
So from the stretch, Cushman, the breaking pitch bouncing high and gets to the mound, just behind the mound. Cushman gets the force at first, but that does advance Braden Higby to second base. In conference 5A East Sky team, that's a sharp shot to deep center field, going back against the wall. And at the warning track, our Angel in the outfield. Angel Oliveras tracks it down for out number 2. Chatter from the Notre Dame prep box. That's a sharp shot that goes off the glove of Haymore into center field. And Jace Terry will score. It is 1-0 Notre Dame. Watch our broadcast or listen to the broadcast on the Cool FM Facebook page. And that is going to be a base hit into left center field. Cushman will get 2 as they throw it back in. No, he stops at second, round second, dives back into second base. He might have been able to make 3, but runner on first. Runner goes big. Line drive into right center field. The runner will round third and head home. Angel throws in the cutoff, and the throw home is not in time. It's a 2-0 lead for Notre Dame Prep. Oh, another single, or another pop fly going into left field over the head of Kai in left field. Another run will score as Jace Terry rounds third, goes into home on a double. Most likely the runner will end up stealing second base from first. And that ball will get away from Nate and will bring in Lane Henry. So another runner in scoring position. 1-0 pitch gets driven into center field and gets over the head and bounces over the wall. It is a ground rule double, and because the runner was on second, the 5th run comes across the plate for the Saints as they look to wrap up this game and head to the second round. No home runs in this game. It's good base running. And that's a sharp shot. And that stays fair. It'll be an extra base hit for Brandon Brown. He rounds first base and will go into second with a stand-up double with 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. The crowd here at Buena High School comes back to life. The 7th, the last chance. That's a ground ball that goes to the shortstop who makes the play, throws over to first, nobody's there, and Brandon will score. The scoreless inning streak is over, and just like that, no one was at first base for the throw. Cole Isaacson makes it into third. Still 1 down. Buena with a runner 90 feet away to bring this game within 3. I don't know what just happened.
Unfortunately.
It was one of those plays. It was like, what? Yeah. But, yeah. Man, Ashton Higgins, that's a name you're going to have to look for in the next 4 to 5 years. Maybe even sooner. He might be picked up. The Yankees were here on Saturday, as well as the Padres. So we had 2 major league organizations here looking at our area and looking at Notre Dame Prep's ace, Ashton. So
it was mainly Ashton.
Well, I mean
they were here to see all the kids, but Ashton was the one that they came for. You know, you get to see everybody else.
And I got word when I was talking to people up in the stands that Austin Cushman had the Padres has been talking to his family about looking at the amateur draft here pretty soon. So we might see him go surpass Cochise College and go up to the big leagues.
Major league draft is really fun because you're drafting straight out of high school. Like, you can draft college, you can draft high school kids. When I was in high school, we had a kid got drafted in the first round as a pitcher, and then there's another guy I knew that got drafted 1 year and then drafted 2 years later. So it happens. I don't know what that's all about, but
it's pretty cool. It is neat.
So still a big time game for Buena to cap off a big time season. Obviously, they won 20 games, first time ever probably, and hosting a playoff game. Obviously, it doesn't end the way that they wanted to. I'm sure they're disappointed, but you have to be proud of their team and what they're able to accomplish this year. So
they went up against a juggernaut. Like, you've got one guy that plays once a week and that's your stopper. And he stopped him. We put up the first run all season long against that guy in 6 games.
Yeah, that's an important or interesting stat.
Yeah, the guy's a monster to put up a single run against the possibly the best pitcher in all of Arizona. We're talking like in Arizona high school baseball.
Oh yeah, he's already committed to ASU. So.
Yeah, the reality is there's nothing to be ashamed of there. And in high school, in almost every sport, you never end with a win. That's just life. That's life in general. That's kind of why college is different, because you can win a bowl game and you can go out on top feeling. But like in high school, it's a championship. In pros, it's a championship. And not to get that championship, you shouldn't be ashamed of doing an excellent job, because sometimes someone comes in with an absolute beast, and there are people in college that probably would have hit him. I mean, it sucks. But that's the way it goes.
But still, hats off to Buena
and
their great season as it comes to an end, and they'll prepare for next year and try to be right back where they were this year. So. And we know that wasn't the only games that we had last week. We'll have a full rundown of some of the other playoff games, baseball and softball. But first, we did have a few interviews that Jarad helped us with that are on the field.
Yeah, myself and Coach Baker went out to Keith Hampton Sports Complex last Wednesday and took upon ourselves, or Thursday, excuse me, went and talked to some of the Buena football players during spring football practice, and I was able to pull a few of the players, and we had a nice talk with Coach Thomas. We'll have to bring it on in a separate show, but just wanted to talk and see the atmosphere and the temperature in the program, after kids leaving, seniors, and you're in the rebuild stage or putting kids in different places with depth charts and all that kind of stuff. So there were some real good chats with these guys. So the first one we're going to talk about with is Keo Wood. He's a freshman field goal snapper and punt snapper, and he's in my first interview here. So we'll let you guys listen to this one.
2, 1.
Good afternoon on the field here at Coolfmlive with Keo Wood, a varsity punt and field goal snapper last year as a freshman. Yes, I said it, folks. Freshman at Buena. And this kid had a phenomenal season as a snapper. I can tell you from what I've seen, what I've learned as a snapper. I was a long snapper myself in high school. This guy's got it. And he's got an incredible training regimen underneath him. He's had one of our former Colts, Giovanni Borbone, has been here a lot this summer and was able to give him tons of tools, and over the winter as well. Every time he's home, he comes and works with him 2 to 3 hours a day. And so to see this young man get to where he's at so far is pretty phenomenal. So Keo, let's talk about spring football right now. We're in our second week of football.
Yes, sir.
How you feel everything's going so far?
It's going good. We look good. I've had to replace a lot of starters, a lot of guys leaving, a lot of seniors. But we're doing well. We look good. Team's getting better every day. It's the goal. Just gotta fight at the end of the day. Tougher schedule, but standard stays the same. Yeah. Coach Thomas set a great standard. All the coaches, seniors set a great standard around here. Obviously starting with Giovanni, of course. We started a little low, but as the season or as spring has gone on, we keep getting better and better and better, and we're not going to stop now.
Good. So let's talk about, since you're kind of part of the line in the line core. Let's talk about where we're filling in there. Who do you think's looking like they could be starting in a spot right now for? What are you looking like the front five would look like
right now
on offense?
2 returners, Tyler Jarad at center, Beast, Zach Barrett, left tackle, yeah. And then Trent, who was starting tight end for us last year, will probably move to the other side. Guards is a bit of a question. There's multiple seniors. Evans, good. Bryce, freshman, one of the strongest freshmen I think has ever come through Buena. I'm trying to see. We got Landon, who's coming back. Kenneth even could get a good start. All of them talented, strong, athletic, big, can do anything we need them to do if need be.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So, like you said, you mentioned earlier, toughest schedule so far. How'd you take that in when it came out? When you saw that Mesa Mountain View, the ALA Gilbert North, and what does that make you feel like?
It made me excited because, of course, you want to go somewhere big. You want to go to the D1 levels like a lot of our guys do. You want to play the Mesa Mountain Views, the Liberties, the Bashes, the best in the country, or the best in the state. And even hopefully we can get to the level where we play the best in the country, like the modern days, the Bishop Corner, and we can compete with those teams.
That'd be nice to see.
Yeah, the main thing is getting good out of conference schedules, because you look at last year's schedule, not saying we didn't play any good teams, but we did well against lesser competition. I mean,
True.
A lot of blowouts in those games.
Mm-hmm.
So you want the best. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. You want to be a state champion, we got to go through state championship level teams.
Wow, very well spoken as a incoming sophomore, man. This guy knows what he's talking about. Loves the interview process. It's good stuff. So, going into your summer, you're going to be doing probably some lineman challenges and stuff like that. How's Coach? Look, it looks like Coach Barch is over there.
Coach Barch taking a big step up, because Coach Furman sadly had to leave us for his own dreams. But Coach Barch, one of the best there is, best in the game. Coach Boutte, even Coach Detterman, of course, all three major guys at what we do and why the offensive line was so good. And you look at Nash last year, he looked like he had plenty of time, clean pocket, a lot.
Yeah, he did a very good job and got him out of here, and he's going to Iowa and going on to the next level. So we look forward to maybe chatting with you again this summer, and always a pleasure to see you, and I've seen you grow since you were
little guy,
little knee high to a duck, as they say.
Yes,
and
sir.
just to see you come to where you're at so far, I'm a very proud young man to see you keep growing, and I can't wait to see where your future's going with this Colt program. So thanks for coming over for a few minutes.
Thank you. Love you, Mom. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Man, for a kid that's 14 years old, almost 15, he interviewed like he was top notch.
That was a great interview.
We're going to bring this guy on the panel here soon. We're going to have to see what Keo can do with Cool FM. And man, he had a good time. He shared a lot of good info about the offensive line, and just rebuilding and filling in where you need to fill in the most important parts. I mean, if you don't have anything in the trenches, you're going to struggle on the football field. So it's a good little transition with a new O-line coach just coming in and stepping in, and with a lot of good O-line knowledge. So it's going to be exciting to see him, step in there, Coach Barchowski. And so in the next on the field interview, I have Cooper Kraus, returning defensive linebacker and also lineman for the Colts. He had a little bit to share about his offseason and what he feels about the upcoming summer, and talked about an offer, and just overall, you guys will see what he has to say.
2, 1.
Good afternoon, back here, Cool FM Live at spring football. Wanted to come in and talk to linebacker extraordinaire. I'll go ahead and say this young man led the 5A Southern Region in tackles as a linebacker as a junior last year. Cooper Kraus, good to see you again, young man. Always a pleasure. So, how do you feel? We're in our second week of spring football. How do you think things are going right now?
Looking pretty good. Our defense looking really strong this year.
Yeah?
A lot of seniors on the defense.
Okay.
Offensively, a lot of returners too.
True. Now, is there any defensive schemes that are going to change? Or are we still going to go with a 4-2-5, 4-3 look?
So
how do you feel?
We haven't really seen, the new competition, what kind of plays they run yet. So we might change it up.
Make some adjustments.
What they run, but I think we're going to be looking at a lot of the stuff we ran last year.
Okay. So my thing is, how's your off season been going? We were kind of talking off camera, so go ahead and share some of that stuff that show some of those numbers you got in the weight room. I was pretty surprised to hear that. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I hit 315 for a set of 3 on bench, and then I hit 475 for a set of 3 on squat.
475 pounds for a set of 3 in the squat rack.
Yeah.
That's what gets you out of here and on the next level, is putting the performance in. And not only putting the performance in the weight room, but being able to transfer it out on the field.
Right.
That's the key thing, is is you got to be mentally tough just as you are physically in the weight room. So that's some good stuff to hear so far. You know, how do you feel with the rebuild? You know, you got people that left, and people that are coming in. How do you feel those younger guys that are coming up from the JV level, or even that were on varsity and just kind of weren't there? Are they hitting in the right places? Are they doing what they need to?
Yeah, I mean, we're putting it together. You know, a lot of new kids who didn't really play that much last year, but I think we're looking pretty strong everywhere.
Good. How do you feel about the schedule?
And I'm excited for the competition.
See, that's what I'm liking.
I want to see what that 6A team's like.
See, exactly. You know, that ALA Gilbert North defending state champs, and you Mason Mountain View runner-up.
Yeah.
You know, last time I was able to play against Mason Mountain View was my sophomore year, and to see us being able to play them in a regular season game is going to be exciting. Yeah. And knowing that they have to travel to us, it's going to be fun to see them having to come down here. That's going to be a big game. So I'm looking forward to seeing. How's your? You said you had an offer come up recently.
Yeah, I got an offer from Arizona Christian University.
Okay. How any other commit? Any other? You're not committed anywhere right now,
No,
so you're just
I got
seeing
a couple
what's
like JUCO offers, but other than that, not really.
Okay. Well, I mean, you put on the size. You're about 205 right now. You were telling me.
Yeah.
You're 5'11", 5'10", so you're in that ideal linebacker hybrid where you need to be, and so we're looking forward to seeing what you guys are going to do in sevens and all that stuff, and we're going to be out here filming that a lot during the summer. So just wanted to come and check it, get a couple opinions from some guys. So it's always a pleasure to talk to a guy I got to talk to a lot last season. So appreciate you coming in and sharing some time with us, and keep these guys focused, will you?
Yeah, it was great talking to you.
All right, bud. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you again. Previously, and always interviewed him after games at Buena, and he's got a passion and a heart for being a Colt, and definitely looking at that captain position. Probably once again, I think he was a captain for some of the games last year, so definitely a good leader out there for that program, and we'll see some exciting things continuing for Cooper. If you guys didn't hear, he did have an offer from Arizona Christian. So far, that's a Division III school. Not a lot of money to get there, but it's still an offer. I mean, there's offers on the table, and this is just going into his senior year. So
he's still got some football
to play. He's got plenty of stats to put those stats back up. So
he's going to get an offer.
He led the Southern Arizona in 5A in tackles last year. Wow. So yeah, him and another linebacker were neck and neck from Cienega, and he ended up beating him in that last game against Cienega. It was fun to see that. So
now, what do you expect to happen out of this team? Do you have any predictions?
I say right now, from what I've seen, I see the same schedule, same record. I say 8-2. Wow. The only two losses you're going to see is a 6A Mason Mountain View. Yeah, that were runners up in state championship. 6A. Mm-hmm. And they might have to be a rebuild. You never know what's going to show up. And then ALA Gilbert North, that might be a toss-up, but I mean the NFL experience that's on that staff at Gilbert North.
Is that the one with Detmer?
Yeah. I was gonna say, if anybody ever knows about a guy named Ty Detmer, he was a Heisman candidate at one point.
I believe he won the Heisman.
He won at BYU. So
shoot,
he's the head coach at Gilbert North. I believe, but he might have transferred to Gilbert Mesa. They always juggle the coaches around depending on what the situation is up there in the valley. But all these guys had the same answer. If you want to play the best, you got to beat. You have them on the schedule. You got to you got to have that level of competition. Yeah. And our guys, I think Coach Baker, you had a tough schedule during basketball last year, and I'm sure you're going to have a lot tougher opponents that you're going to put up there for the boys. And it just continues because we're down here in the corner. I feel like we're not always given that fair shot way down here in the southeast corner of Arizona, but because we're the only 5A school around, and we come up the road to play in the playoffs, and we'll make some noise. We did some noise in the playoffs this last year. I mean, we had 3 region championships, so Buena's on the map for sure, and we're excited to see what's going to happen for these upcoming seniors, and the next round of athletes that are coming our way. It's exciting to see what's going to happen for the blue and white next year.
I've got another question.
Okay, real quick, we got to move it in.
Who do you see playing quarterback?
So for me right now, we were talking about this in between interviews with Coach Baker and I was like, what you could see is the man himself, T.J. Walker.
Yep.
He could be...
That would be amazing.
Fake read.
Okay.
Follow him in the hole.
Yeah.
He can step back, throw a little dump to a tight end or some other receiver. I mean, you got Tariq, you got Jaden Thomas, you got weapons that you can throw to. And I don't know if you weren't there, but you would have seen that they were throwing fades.
Yeah.
And
Does he have the fades?
TJ's just flopping it.
You know me.
Just chucking it. He's just like throwing it in the barrel. And I was like, this guy's a no-brainer.
Jarad knows that I'm a, like, when it comes to throwing fades, that's the throw in football that I'm like, if you can figure that out in Nash, holy smokes, he was so good at throwing fades. I'm like,
such precision.
Being able to drop it in the bucket as a guy's running full speed and out a little bit, that's if he can do that, then we're talking maybe I didn't see that coming.
And if you would have seen, we could probably put up the interview with Coach Thomas in later weeks to come, but I asked the coach, I said, what's your quarterback situation right now? He goes, we can throw a couple things here and there, coach, but at the end of the day, I'm going to run the ball. And so
no need a quarterback.
He's a run heavy guy, so he'll find a way to.
We got 3 linemen that are going to play quarterback this year.
No, he just wants to, pound it and keep the ball in our hands. So
I love that.
We got Lujan coming back, and we've got little Hudson Johnson coming into the.
He looked good in that one
game.
The
varsity game. So we'll have to see. It's gonna be an exciting season. I say it again, 8-2.
Okay.
Jumping into a region championship possibly. 5A Sonoran. Now that we're in the Sonoran, they moved us over to the other side of the divisions this upcoming year. So it's gonna be Mountain Views. We have to play Casa Grande and Vista Grande. Play both the Casa Grande schools, and so we'll have to see what happens with those. And we have to travel to Casa Grande again, John. So just letting be ready for that 104 kickoff.
Oh man! Well,
in the sand pit of
I'll wear
the sandlot of Casa Grande's football field. Man, it was ugly.
Yeah, that was a real rough game.
It was just a shootout.
It's either too hot or too cold. Oh, that was that wide receiver that just
touchdown.
6'7" wide receiver. Now is he coming back or was
he was a junior?
Oh shoot.
We'll see. Well, we might see him.
Okay.
You saw him on the basketball court. So.
No, well he didn't. He didn't play when we played them. We played them out in a tournament.
Oh, you never played
an in-season tournament. I don't know if he had quit basketball or just was missing in action that week or that tournament. But no, he's more of a problem on the football field. Although he does have the size, he looks like he'd be a phenomenal athlete and can play basketball.
If he can actually play wide receiver at the next level, I don't know either. I don't know if he can.
I don't see.
But if he can, you're talking about the tallest wide receiver in college football.
Yeah. I see him right now as a tight end.
I do too.
Yeah,
yes,
he totally.
End. Oh, he'd be an excellent tight end.
Right.
He could probably become I mean, you could see him at the next level. Well, I don't like going too far, but you could see a dude that's 6'7" that runs that fast in the NFL now. If he puts weight on, he can do that same stuff.
He has the weight. He's 270. Remember? Remember that 99 yard?
Yeah, but I
where
thought
he shook off like 3 of our players, just throwing them off of people. It was you guys. If you want to watch it, go back to our YouTube channel and go watch the Casa Grande footage in about third quarter.
No, it was the first quarter.
No, it was in the third quarter. It was right before halftime. Anyway, it was just one of those things where it was one of those freak plays you want to see on ESPN. It was
awesome.
It was one of those Sports Center dun-da-dun.
I'm the kind of guy that screams and freaks out, and Jared's like, shut up. Stop. You're giving him too many highlights. I'm like, I've never seen a dude do that. That was pretty. In real life, I've never seen anybody go 99 yards. That was the first time in my real life. So.
Well, we still won the game. So
we still won.
I'm fine with watching that.
Yeah. So let's recap all of last week's action. Let's get into the whole thing of what's on deck this week in Cochise County Sports. It's time for the rundown.
Yes, we had a somewhat busy week across the county, so let's start it off with Benson. So they had no games last week, but they're getting ready to face Phoenix Country Day this Friday on May 9th. So good luck out there to Benson. For their softball, they picked up a 15-2 win over Arizona Lutheran.
Yeah, those ladies.
But unfortunately, their season came to a close this Saturday with a 5-11 loss against Kingman Academy, which put them at a solid 14-15 for the year. Next up, we got Bisbee. Pumas edged out the San Miguel Vipers 1-0, so close, low-scoring game, and their playoff hopes are still alive. They're going to play the Wickenburg Wranglers on Friday. For their softball team, they ended their season with the 13-5 loss to Round Valley, which put them at a solid 16-11 record.
Now, I wanted to go real quick back, Julian, to the baseball and Bisbee. Bisbee does have the number 1 seed.
Number 1.
Wow.
In 2A?
In 2A. So
I didn't know that.
They are hosting Wickenburg.
They're also the defending state champion.
Yeah, so they might have a pretty good shot at that.
They're used to this.
Yeah.
They're a very good baseball team. Yeah. Probably the rankings tell you, and the championship rings that they have from last season tell you they are the best baseball team in 2A Arizona.
Oh yeah.
They're 22-3 right now going into this.
So yeah, they'll be looking to defend that title.
Yeah. So I just wanted to hit that real quick. Go ahead and continue.
Next up, we got Buena, and unfortunately for them, they played Notre Dame Prep with an insane just pitcher.
Seriously.
Yeah, I mean ASU commit. I've heard he can throw a 95 fastball, so
he was hitting it.
It's just insane.
It was the other pitches. It wasn't his heat that was killing us. That was the craziest thing. He threw the craziest curveball. He threw the craziest. I mean, everything was nuts with that guy.
His 4-seam was legit, but his 2-seam was disgusting.
Just an insane pitcher.
It would move. It would tail. It was just crazy.
So they were able to beat the Buena Colts 5-1, which put them at a very good record at 20-7. But just unfortunate for them.
That's the way it goes.
So for softball, they lost to Chaparral 11-1, closing out with a 9-19 record.
So they actually got a play-in game.
That was a play-in game.
Playoff.
And they played the games and won them when they counted. And so even though they were 9-19, I think they were 8-2 in games counting towards their playoffs.
Exactly.
And even though they lost the play-in game, that's a tall order to have to drive to Chaparral, which is Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Before you play in a game. Anytime a team goes on the road in these situations, they're at such a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So, hats off to the Buena girls softball, even though, like you said, the season ended, but they still fought hard to get to that play-in game and give themselves a chance.
Yeah, moving on to Douglas, they won their play-in game against Marcos de Niza 5-4, but ended their playoff run against South Point Catholic with a 4-0 loss.
Yeah, I heard South Point was like 1 or 2 seed in the playoffs. So they were going to run into a big monster of a matchup in that first round. So,
and that's 4A, correct?
Yes,
Douglas.
Okay. Yeah, 4A.
Well, that's the other part. What I was saying about being such a tough task to have to travel. You're also traveling to go play a really good team. When you barely get in the play-in or whatever, you're going against a team that's pretty good. So.
Dude, anytime you're traveling across the street, who is in? Well, we might get to it actually, where they went across. Yeah. Oh, Kingman.
Oh.
No, they lost in Kingman's the one that I was
Yeah, but
talking
we've
about.
got a game coming up in Bullhead City this
Oh
week.
my gosh.
Oh yeah.
Tombstone, the girls are headed to Bullhead City.
Girls, man, stretch them legs. That's gonna be a hard drive.
they'll have at least
6 hours, 7 hours.
They have to have at least 2 breaks because of the bus driver has to stop.
Take a flight, girls. Take the plane.
It would be nice if there was a flight to.
We've got an airport. We can do this.
Okay. Who's fitting that
Anybody
bill,
got
John?
any connections?
Yeah, right. Like, anybody wants to fit that bill and help these guys out, help these girls get over to Bullhead without a bus ride? That'd be nice.
So for St. David baseball, they were able to beat Anthem Prep and will face Hayden on Saturday the 10th. For their softball, they were able to shut out Siloam 12-0. And now for their next matchup, they will play Ash Fork on Thursday.
Those are 2 really good teams too.
Yeah.
They all have good chances of continuing on past this round. So good luck to
St. David girls are.
Yeah, they won the girls basketball won the state title last year.
Yeah.
A lot of those girls play softball too. So.
And for Tombstone baseball, they'll be looking to play St. John's this Friday. So looking forward to that one. Good luck to Tombstone.
Mm-hmm.
For their softball, they earned a 9-6 win over Santa Cruz Valley. They got Mojave Accelerated coming up this Wednesday.
That's the one they were just talking
Yeah,
about.
Yep.
that's up in Mojave County in Bullhead City.
Long drive.
Mm-hmm.
So Valley Union baseball, they beat El Capitan 6-3. So their postseason hopes are still alive.
Mm-hmm.
They'll take on Superior this Saturday. And lastly, we have Wilcox baseball. They dropped their final game of the season to Fountain Hills, 11-4, and they finished with a 9-14-1 record. Softball, the Cowgirls edged out Camp Verde 5-4, and will play Horizon Honors tomorrow. So looking forward to that game. Hopefully they can get another
have
win.
somebody covering that game tomorrow.
We should.
We have a team going to Wilcox to give them the cover. We'll be on Cool FM Live tomorrow, so look forward to checking in on the live stream and watch those Cowgirls play some first round action in the 2A
For many of these games, look out for Cool FM Live to cover. We're especially with these big time 2A playoffs. We have a lot of teams representing Cochise County, starting with the reigning champions that we talked about earlier, Bisbee. We'll be bringing you the coverage of that game. Also, Benson's playing this Friday, and Tombstone as well.
Yeah.
They're all in Goodyear this Friday, and expect to see that coverage here on Cool
All
FM.
3 games.
Yeah, they have that big sports complex in the Goodyear area. And
They're playing back-to-back 4 games. They got 4 baseball games, and they're going, oh, man, that's the kind of tournament you want to go to for fun. That's going to be awesome for anybody that wants to go. I highly recommend it.
And have 3 teams from Cochise County, and they're not just in it, but with good chances to win. They're actually the higher seed in all 3 of those games. We could potentially see Benson and Bisbee in that the semifinals.
Yeah.
So that would be a big time game for us too. So, but good luck to all those teams, and look out for the coverage on all those games right here on Cool FM Live.
Cochise County baseball and softball. Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
very, very proud to see that, all that excitement going on.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yep, so that does it for this week's recap. Up next, we have the buzzer beater. Coach Baker is here to break down what's going on inside the NBA.
All right. Are we going straight into it, or? Start over.
Dang, that's a quick
I can't start with 50 seconds.
Jeez.
I think it says that it starts with when the sting.
Well, all right. All right, we're through the first round of the NBA playoffs, and there's been a lot. Most notable performances to me, I think of Anthony Edwards, Ant-Man, dominating LeBron and Luka, beating the Lakers in 5. I think of Jalen Brunson doing his thing with the Knicks. I think of Tyrese Halliburton taking the Pacers over the Bucks. There's also 2 Game 7s in the first round, which was cool. We didn't have that in a few years. We saw Steph and Buddy Hield shoot past the Houston Rockets, and we also saw Denver Nuggets beat the Clippers. I'd say probably the most impressive teams to me obviously start with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Not only did they sweep Ja Morant and the Grizzlies, every game was a blowout, and one game they came back from a 26-point deficit.
Yeah.
Not to be outdone by the Cleveland Cavs, who also had blowouts in every game that they played, and actually won their game 4 by I think 55 points.
Yep.
Winning the series by 122-point differential, biggest in history. That's the most lopsided series in the history of the NBA.
That's ridiculous. So, the final teams in the playoffs. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was round 1 pretty much. Round 2 has already just begun. We had some games last night. There's actually some games today. I believe the Pacers already got game 1 over Cleveland. Even though I just said they're one of the most impressive teams.
Hey,
but yeah.
So it's Pacers and Cleveland. It's the Warriors and the Rockets. It's the Knicks and the Celtics. Thunder and the Nuggets. Warriors and the Timberwolves. Timberwolves. And then so those are the teams.
And Boston's up 16 right now.
Yeah, they're looking really, really good. Well, I've got some final notes we're going to go over. We've got rodeo champs. The Grand Canyon Regional Champions. Women's team includes Macy Fowley, Murphy, gosh.
Gash.
Okay. Riley Christensen, and Sealy Bottoms. They are set to compete at the College National Finals Rodeo in June in Casper, Wyoming. Ladies are part of the Cochise College Rodeo program.
Oh, okay.
Amazing job. Those girls, I'm telling you, they're really, really good. We're also pleased to announce that Wyatt Eddy of Tombstone has been named the 2025 Academic All-American Team, a member of the National High School Coaches Association in our district nominated Wyatt Eddy for this prestigious honor recognizing his exceptional athletic and academic achievements.
If anybody doesn't know, Wyatt Eddy's a wrestler for Tombstone.
Yeah, but super smart kid,
Oh, yeah.
man, all those kids. And then Cochise College Apaches baseball team kept the scores close through games 1 and 2, but lost 0-14 in game 3 against Arizona Central, ending their season with an overall record of 43-16 and a 23-13 in ACCAC conference play. Oh my gosh, that was you don't see scores like that in college very often. So, anybody else have anything that we want to say before we get out of here? It was an excellent week in baseball. We got a lot of excellent things going on in the future. We're looking forward to all these great players, great plays, and all the highlights.
And Coach Baker said it earlier. We'll just stay tuned in here on Cool FM Live to watch all the live stream capabilities that we have. We may be able to only bring you audio to some of these games. Might be able to bring you the whole thing. So just keep an eye out. Just if you want to hear your team, that if you can't make the trip to where your team's playing, we'll have some type of coverage right here at Cool FM Live. So keep supporting us. And if you have anybody that wants to support us some more with sponsors, have them reach out to Todd Van Ryan and Cool FM or Coach Baker or any of us here on the panel. Feel free to reach out to us and see how you want to be involved with Cool FM, and we'll continue to bring the best coverage in Cochise County to you.
Absolutely.
The way we can and the way we always have. So, I just got to put my little plug in there.
You did it. I appreciate it.
I'm darn proud of this crew right here, of what we've been able to do so far these last few years at Cool FM, and want to see this team continue to grow. And we can't do it without our producer Dan over here to the side doing all of our incredible work on our show. So
Dan probably doesn't. He never is on camera, so
hats off to Dan.
People
Dan's
don't know
gonna show
about
up one of these
this guy.
days and be like, "Oh, I know that guy." There we go. All right, cool. You guys heard it. If you didn't hear it, he's gonna do a buzzer beater.
Yes, and we got to expose that this is a sports show, and our producer doesn't know anything about sports.
Okay, he doesn't.
So that's why it's going to be so entertaining for that buzzer beater.
Shots fired.
I love it. He knows enough. All right. Thank you for tuning in to Cool FM Live Sports Show. Thank you to Coach Baker. Thank you, Julian Duran. Thank you, Jarad Young. I'm John Berger. We'll see you next week.